All right, hello students. Let's go ahead and do a couple problems together. It says calculate the area of each triangle. Figures not drawn to scale, which all this means is that this is not really 24 inches here. As you can see, if it's 24 inches, it would be going off of your page or off of the screen even. So let's go ahead and we have to find the area of a triangle. Remember, I wrote it up here. Area equals 1/2 times base times height. So we have to identify what is the base and what is the height. So once again, we find that 90-degree angle. And we have the height or the altitude right here of 8. So that would be our height. And then we have our base. Well, the base over here is just simply 24. Remember, this 6 is not part of the base because it's not part of the triangle. It's just the extended portion. And we don't need this 10 here, say, because that's part of the slant. It's not a straight up like the altitude would be, so we don't need that. So the base is 24, the height is 8, so let's go ahead and plug those in. All right, so the area is equal to 1/2. Let's go ahead and put the base. The base is 24 times the height of 8. And let's go and do some multiplication. Well, the height, members, also means divided by 2, so I can actually find half of 24 pretty easily. Half of 24 is 12. And then the height I haven't touched yet are the 8, so I just simply bring it down. As you can see, I left the units off of inches. Like I said, I always like to just simply deal with the numbers and bring the units in later because I know the units have to be squared. I do the multiplication. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So the area of this is just simply 96 inches squared. So remember, big thing is just simply identifying the proper numbers. We don't use the 6 and the 10. The 6 is the extension of the base to get that 90-degree angle. And the 10 is just simply one of the sides of the triangle that we just simply don't need. All right, as we move on to number 7, this one, as you can see, has some mixed numbers. Some people usually have issues with mixed numbers, so we're going to go over a problem kind of working with the mixed numbers so we can work on it properly. All right, so first of all, we have to find that 90-degree angle. So once again, here's the 90-degree angle right here. So since these two are connected to 90-degree angle, this one is not needed. So I prefer to get rid of the ones that I don't need for the area. That means this should be the altitude or the height. Even though it is going down, it's still the height of it. And this would be the base. I mean, it really doesn't matter which one you use, but since this is part of the triangle, that would be the base. So let's go ahead and plug them in. So because we have fractions, this 1/2 actually would work pretty well with these fractions. We kind of want to leave that in there. Sometimes you substitute it for 0.5 if we're dealing with decimals, or if we're using calculator, that works perfectly fine. Since we're not, at least not on this portion of it, or I'm not, we're not going to use 0.5. All right, so when we're dealing with these fractions, and when we multiply fractions, we want all of them to kind of look like this 1/2. We want one number on top, one number on bottom. We don't want these whole numbers here. So we have to convert all these to either a proper fraction or, of course, an improper fraction. So for this one, we have to change it. We have to multiply. Remember, multiply the 4 times the 12. So 4 times 12 is 48 plus 3. 48 plus 3 is 51. So the 51 goes on top, and the 4 stays on the bottom. And now I go ahead and I do the same thing over here. I multiply 2 times 9. I'm sorry, now I add the top. Sorry, I forgot to put add the top. 2 times 9 is 18. 18 plus 1 is 19. So I go ahead and I put 19 right here and over 2. So now when I do this, all I got to do is multiply bottoms and multiply tops. So the multiplying the bottom is pretty easy. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. But now I have these big numbers on top. 1 times 51 is 51. 51 times 19. Well, that's what works. So let's go ahead and do that on the side. If you want to try to do it on your own, kind of pause the video and try to do it on your own. Kind of test yourself. That's perfectly fine. Otherwise, you can kind of go through it with me. So 9 times 1 would be 9. 9 times 5 is 45. Remember, we got to multiply both the bottom numbers by both top numbers. And so I'm done with the 9. That means I got to put up, oops, I didn't mean to go ahead and put a 0 there for the place value holder. Now I got to multiply 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. And now all I have to do is add these two partial products together. And so I get 9. 5 plus 1 is 6. 4 plus 5 is 9 as well. And so I get 969 on top. All right, well, we're not done yet. I mean, we're almost there. This is pretty close. So let's go ahead and write that down, kind of clean this up. The area equals to 969 over 16. Well, we want this as a mixed number, which means I need to have it kind of look back or go back to this 12 and 3/4, so the 9 and 1/2. These are mixed numbers. So I have to do some division. So over here on the side, I'm going to go ahead and do the division. So 16 goes on the outside because that's the bottom number. 969 goes on the inside, and let's go ahead and do some division. So how many times does 16 go into 96? Well, if we think about it, that would be, I believe, it'd be 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. I mean, if you don't know, you can always do some guessing and checking. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 3 is 9. You can see that worked out perfectly. So we subtract. We get 0. I'm done with this 3, so I cross it out. Now bring down this 9. The question is, can 16 go into 9? And the answer is no, it can't. So we can't. We have to put something up here. Since it doesn't work, we simply put a 0. And now we have our mixed number. Okay, so remember, we don't want to keep going on and on forever. When you're done with the whole number given to you, the remainder goes up top, and the 16, the bottom, stays the same. So this right here, the area now would be equal to 60 wholes and 9/16. Now I always want to look to see, can I simplify down this fraction? Remember, we look at the 9. What are factors of 9? 1 times 9. Well, can 16 be divided by 9 nicely? No. And then 3 times 3. So can 16 be divided by 3 nicely? And the answer is no. So we're done. So 60 and 9/16 feet squared. That would be the area of the triangle. All right, so there you go. There's kind of the examples, the lesson of the day. Kind of also reviewing how do we work with mixed numbers and improper fractions. So you can go and stop the video and go and move on to your assignment of the day.